Did y'all see dude Murdoch from South Carolina? Guilty.
I saw that.
Got his ass.
I heard they didn't even deliberate for an hour.
No.
Is that what it was?
Well, I don't know how, I got to go back and see how long they deliberated for, but they sliced him up. They're like, dude, you did it. Like, can you imagine though, man, like having all that, you had it made. You're spending $60K a week on oxys? How are you alive? Like, how do you,
impressive.
Wait, how are you alive?
Like, that's what I'm
impressive.
saying. They
It's
said he
impressive
would be
feat.
like detoxing at the house. That one girl said in the documentary, she said he'd be so pale you could like see through him. Like,
And he wasn't selling them, and he spent $60,000 a month?
that's my whole, like they're showing him that Netflix series, they're showing he's writing checks like weekly for like $9,000, $8,000, $20,000, stuff like that, like for pills.
I have to watch that series.
For pills. But the craziest part, and you want to know how I just know 2023 is going to be nuts? Legitimately on social media, O.J. Simpson was commentating on the murder.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No,
I
he
swear.
did not.
I swear I tweeted.
O.J. Simpson was commenting on the trial?
On Twitter.
What
He's like, man,
did he say?
He goes, OJ's like, man, I don't know. I thought maybe Murdoch could find some reasonable doubt. Look. O.J. Simpson commenting on a murder trial verdict. That's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. Which, in some Twilight Zone bizarro world, it's like, again, if anybody has experience getting away with murder, it's O.J. Simpson.
Well, look, allegedly.
Allegedly. I just watched that.
Did he write?
Yeah, he's innocent.
That would be like.
He's innocent. You know what I mean? Walking around. Just walking around in public.
Did he tell
Didn't he
Murdoch?
like kidnap somebody or rob a bank?
You talking about like in
He did a
Las
bunch of
Vegas?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
he?
some in Las Vegas, like for some memorabilia.
You want to talk about a king troll on Twitter? That might be the best troll job ever.
Is like
It has to be. There's no way.
That's 100% troll.
That's
Or
a
you think
that's
OJ
a
You think it's a troll
that's
job?
a murderer
You think
giving
OJ, like,
analysis
called-
on a guy getting convicted
Did he
from
tell him?
murder.
Did
You
he
think-
tell him and say, "Did the glove fit, bro?"
Yeah, no. Like, do you think like
use the
he called
Chewbacca
his
defense?
buddies? You think OJ called his buddies, like the three of them, and it was like, hey, you guys think enough time's passed where I could like comment on this and it wouldn't be a big deal?
We need
Enough
to try to
time. Didn't
we
he
need to
release a
try to
book?
get him on the show.
OJ?
Let's get OJ.
OJ.
Let's get OJ.
Tried. I'll keep trying.
We'll try and get the juice on the show.
Look,
We get the
if
juice.
Just can't get him on. I don't know.
Already
who can.
write a book after the murder trials in '94.
Like how I got away with it.
No, it was like if I did it, but
Yeah.
if was really really small.
You want to know how you want to know
Come
how I
on,
know
man.
you
That's-
did it? You want to know how I know you did it? You wrote a book called If I Did It.
and could publish that with a straight face. Like, come on, man.
Look, it's a
That's hilarious.
2023 bizarro world.
If we get OJ in, can it be remote?
yeah.
Can it be? Can
I
it
want him
be
here.
remote?
Keep
I want
him
him
away
here.
Throw in a glove
Keep him away from the
commercial.
Yeah.
kitchen.
We
During
should all
his
dress up
interview.
like the hitman right when he gets on stage. On the set. Gloves, just tie, suit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he really commented on that.
Yeah, you did. You need to go look at it after this. Ravens wide receiver Rashod Bateman calls out his own general manager there in Baltimore. Pete Maravich's scoring record remains intact for now. And our friend Danny Kanell weighs in on FSU to the SEC, trans athletes, and the new football rules. I'm Jake Crane. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday, and you better bet your bottom dollar this under's hitting. It's Crane and Company. Current Baltimore Raven wide receiver Rashod Bateman went after his own GM Eric DaCosta on social media yesterday, saying, how about you play to your players' strengths and stop pointing the finger at us in number 8? We take heat 24/7 and keep us healthy and care about us and see what happens. Now, what horrible thing did DaCosta say to prompt such a thorough tongue lashing from the young player? Well, he just answered a question about the Ravens' problems drafting wide receivers by stating, if I had an answer to that, we would probably have better wide receivers. Now, the Ravens have never drafted a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Think about that. Now, Rashod Bateman did later delete that post, but it's yet another example of how NFL players are some of the most privileged out of any of us in society. The reason DaCosta answered that way is because it's true. Rashod Bateman was picked 27th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft, and he signed a $12.6 million contract with a $6.5 million signing bonus. And what have the Ravens gotten in return? Not their money's worth, that's for damn sure. Bateman has only played in 18 games in 2 years and is yet to break 530 receiving yards in a season. And he only has 2 more touchdowns than he does fumbles. Yet he feels okay enough to publicly berate his employer for stating an obvious truth about his performance. Imagine if any of us in the real world were able to openly criticize our boss because they criticize us. You or I would be fired in a second, and people would not bat an eye. That's the norm, but not in the NFL. In the NFL, you can underachieve and still feel free enough to get upset when your employer calls you out on it. He isn't alone, though. Elijah Moore for the Jets didn't play in games this past year because he was upset about not getting the ball, and he's accomplished nothing in the NFL. Now, the entitlement around the league is at an all-time high. So just remember, the next time you hear a multi-millionaire cry about being called out for subpar performance, it's a sign of progress. I'm going to go and bring in my co-host, former Michigan wide receiver David Cohn, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. Look, if you're an old head, you're a guy
yeah, that's one you said after.
You had to introduce.
I haven't got to introduce him.
No, you said after the monologue.
Yes, I got to introduce you as
now.
You
said you introduced me as Flaming Dragon on Fridays. Don't worry. I'll go ahead and give you. I'll add one. Add one up there. It was going to be 2.5, so now I'll do it 3.5. And
now we're ready. Now we're ready.
We're at 1.
Now we're ready.
What's the over under here?
3.5. We're gonna go. It was 2.5.
Are we counting that as 1?
Yes, we're counting that as 1.
Until we play the graphic, it doesn't go. Let me explain.
Said after the monologue.
Yeah. You did the monologue.
It's not done.
It was done.
Wasn't done.
It was okay. Next time, we won't count this, but next time we'll count it.
Yes. If you don't know what we're talking about on Flaming Dragon Friday, I cannot use his government name. I can only refer to him as Flaming Dragon. We set the over-under at 3.5.
Put a $20 bill out there, man.
David, here's my thing. If you're a guy that's been in the league for a while, that has performed well, Pro Bowls, things like that, DeAndre Hopkins comes out and says something about the GM. Okay, I get that. Just like in business, somebody's been in the company for 10, 12, 15 years. Something's going on they don't like and they say something about it. They're going to have a lot more leeway than somebody who hasn't earned the right to do anything. Rashod Bateman has done nothing in the NFL. If anything, Rashod Bateman is robbing the NFL and the Baltimore Ravens. If Eric DaCosta had come out and said, you know what? When they asked him about the problems drafting wide receivers, and he came out and said, you know, Rashod Bateman sucks. Like, that's one thing. Or, man, we shouldn't have drafted. If he had singled out Rashod Bateman and said, oh, man, we really missed on this guy, he didn't even call him out specifically. He said in general. And this is how soft mentally some of these guys are. And makes me think, Rashod Bateman, if you're this soft to be crying about this and then have to go back and delete that post because you knew you were wrong, I don't think you're ever going to do anything in the NFL. Like, it just shows you the entitlement around the league and how privileged this young class of NFL players, they don't even have to earn anything. You don't even have to go out there and play good, but you better not say I'm playing bad because that's mean or that's bullying. It's a joke to me. Get on with that stuff, man.
Both of these guys are in the wrong, even if neither of them is technically wrong. As far as the general manager goes, if you're at the combine, go evaluate players. I don't need to hear you make statements or talk to the media or talk about personnel. Go do what you're saying you haven't done a great job of, which is go evaluate players. And I agree with everything you're saying on the Rashod Bateman point. You know, put social media down and get better at your craft. Now, he's 2 seasons into playing in the NFL. I do think, you know, Rashod Bateman's best football days could potentially still be ahead of him. We'll see. Not if he continues to act like this and want to be more on social media than he is trying to get better at football. But the Baltimore Ravens organization is one of those ones that we have praised as being free of dysfunction for a long time. You know, you look at a franchise like the Browns or, you know, some of these other franchises around the NFL, and they never can seem to get right. And a story like this wouldn't be surprising. But with the Ravens, you know, especially with the leadership of Ozzie Newsome, who's a friend of the show. He's a family friend. We talk about Ozzie Newsome a long time. You didn't see this kind of stuff when he was the general manager. Now, he is still, like director of player personnel and an executive and all that. But what I'm surprised most by this is that Eric DeCosta spent his entire career with the Ravens. When you've spent 25 years with an organization, you would think that, and learning under the tutelage of someone like Ozzie Newsome, that you wouldn't have these kind of problems. So I don't know. It speaks to more dysfunction within the Ravens organization right now. And I don't know if this is something that is going to be worked out by the time the season starts.
Well, it seems like the drama with Lamar is kind of showing cracks in other areas, it seems like, for the Ravens. And
I agree with you, which I hate that, because I don't think the Ravens are in the wrong not wanting to pay a guy $250 million guaranteed. But if that issue is causing more issues with other players, and you saw what Bateman said when he made his statement, Hollywood Brown, who was traded away to the Cardinals, sent a response to Rashod Bateman that was like, let him cook or preach or something like that in agreement. So it's not just a one-person issue.
Well, yeah, and again, my whole point is, should Eric DeCosta have said anything kind of in that vein? No, you're just creating problems, right? You're creating problems where there doesn't need to be problems. He should have said, look, we need better performance from that group. They know that. We think we have some really young, talented guys that haven't burst onto the scene yet. We've been kind of beat up. Say something in that vein. Be smart. Use the company line. But I'm not going to get mad at a guy for telling the truth in a business where we don't get the truth a lot. But again, Flaming Dragon, I'll kick this to you. If this was a guy who had been in the league for a while and has paid his dues, and has earned that contract, earned that second contract, I can understand this a lot more. And I'm not saying Rashod Bateman is wrong in what he is saying. I've been on here talking about the lack of personnel that the Ravens have at wide receiver and the way that offense does not fit, Lamar Jackson, and how it needs to be more wide open and things like that, which will obviously benefit the wide receivers. But that's something, if you're where Rashod Bateman is, you handle that either in-house between you and you go talk to Eric DeCosta. You haven't earned the right, in my opinion, to go to social media and act like you're a guy that's been to 6 Pro Bowls and you know how this thing's supposed to go. You've done nothing.
Well, you never see this with the Ravens, and it's worrisome, right? You're worried about this and Lamar Jackson right now. You're at the Combine. Why are you even talking about this? Rashod Bateman, it blows my mind that you even have the gall. You have to earn respect in this league, dog. You had 200 receiving yards last year. 200 receiving yards. Hell, I could probably go out there and get half of that in the same amount of games. But if you're the Ravens, this is the last thing you're worried about. The last thing I'm worried about in this organization is Rashod Bateman. You could go draft a guy right now, probably in the first 2 rounds, who will be just as good as Rashod Bateman. Until you prove it on the field, which you have not, you have no right to get on social media and tell me how to do my job when you've done nothing. You need to worry about staying healthy. Quit typing and maybe go stretch a little bit or something.
What did he tweet again?
Oh, he tweeted. So basically, we can pull it back up. Basically saying that you need to play to our strengths. We take heat 24/7. Basically, just don't call us out. You're not doing your job.
Yeah.
Man, go make plays.
Like, if Mark Andrews tweeted this, I'm like, all right, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right, let's have a conversation.
Sure.
One of the top 3 tight ends.
Mark Andrews,
you don't hear Mark out. Mark's probably in the gym picking the gym up right now. But Rashod Bateman's probably sitting at home with the TV on, listening to this guy say that, listening to this guy say that, scrolling through his phone, and is crying about it on social media. And that's why you'll never be great.
Yeah, again, if I'm the Ravens, I worry about Rashod Bateman's future after this. But speaking about futures, if you like future bets, you like live bets, you like normal spread bets, you like prop bets, you just like to gamble on sports, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, because new customers can place $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Also, if you go to the app, opt in, you can place a same-game parlay on any NBA game, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back. We've got NHL playoffs coming up, NBA playoffs coming up, March Madness coming up, Major League Baseball coming up, which means the come-up is happening for every single human being that downloads the DraftKings Sportsbook app, a great sponsor of the Booster Club. You'll love to see it. Use that promo code, David.
Use that promo code.
Yes.
Use it.
Flaming.
Yes.
That's you.
Yes.
Well, it's Flaming Dragon.
Papa.
Right, it's not just Flaming.
No,
Everybody has a nickname.
All right, it's definitely not Flailing Duck.
Flailing
Or
Duck.
whatever the hell that even means. All right, let's go to Thomas Briscoe Jr.
Okay,
It's a
TBJ.
$5 donation.
Appreciate that.
I'm sure y'all won't know the answer to this question.
That's a whiskey
So
cup
I'll
right
probably answer it. He says, hey, I've heard you reference anime a couple times here recently. I just want to know which one was your favorite sports anime. Not a big sports anime.
There's sports anime?
Yeah. Sports, not a huge sports anime. Probably the Kuroku's basketball. Wasn't terrible. That's the only one I've really watched. I probably watched 2 episodes of it.
Well, I've watched like 3 animes. One of them is One Punch Man.
We
You enjoyed that. You enjoyed One Punch Man,
Yeah.
Attack on Titan.
Yes. And there's the third one I watched was like the Record of Ragnarok, where they're
Really
fighting
good
for the world.
Yeah. Gods versus Humans.
Gods versus Humans.
It actually came out with a new season.
That was a really good
See,
one.
David, you'd like it. Well,
Are we
we're
in the trust tree?
You're coming around.
I have a
David's got a
question.
little anime.
You're
in it.
coming
What?
around, though.
David
You look like
looks
a
like
guy
an
from
anime
One Piece,
character.
let's be honest.
What is anime? Just like explain to me in the simple, like I'm 5, like I'm Michael Scott.
It's an adult cartoon of fighting.
Then why not just say animated? Like it sounds like you're about to say animated, but you stop short. It's like the new cool way to
This
say
is
cartoon.
this is the part that upsets you.
Like,
Out
if
of
you
all
just-
this, that's the part.
Nothing upsets me.
Quit trying to make fetch work, all right? It's not
It's
gonna
my
work.
point exactly. Stop trying to make fetch
It's
work.
different, all right? Let's go to Papa John on some pizza, $10 donation.
Oh God.
Says, did you guys see Nolan Smith from Georgia at the Combine
Yes.
yesterday?
I did
Absolute
about it.
freak. Sub 4.40, 41.5-inch vert at all 6'2" at 238 pounds. Sheesh.
Yeah, the best thing I saw about Nolan Smith, and I tweeted this yesterday, wasn't that he ran a 4.4, wasn't that he jumped out of the gym. It was the reaction of his former teammates at Georgia watching him hit that 4.4 and get that great time. If you haven't seen it, go to my Twitter at @JakeCrane_. You can see it. I tweeted it. The players are literally in a room at Georgia watching Nolan Smith run the 40, and they are going nuts when he hits 4.4. They knew once he had the good get off. That's the thing. Once that get off hits, you're cruising, baby. It shows you the leadership. I think it shows you a little bit what we talked about yesterday about the Jalen Carter situation on how tight that locker room is and how they're all accountable for each other. And once you get outside of that structure and that routine, we see Stetson Bennett get in trouble. We see this Jalen Carter situation and some of the other things. So I think if I'm a GM or I'm anybody involved in player personnel, I know Nolan Smith is a freak athlete. I know that he checked in heavy enough to do what I think he needs to do. But the biggest thing I got from yesterday watching is that Nolan Smith is loved by his teammates. Nolan Smith is respected by his teammates. And Nolan Smith knows how to lead a team at the highest level. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles or somebody right now who's put together a monster out of Alabama and Georgia players, I can tell you something, buddy. You're probably not getting Jalen Carter, but send my ass Nolan Smith any day of the week.
Part of me is glad it was TCU who went on and
Yeah, they won
had
the
to play them in the
championship
championship.
But
and not
without
Michigan.
Nolan
Yeah,
Smith.
without-
I know.
Without
Part of
Nolan
me is
Smith.
just glad you go play those monsters.
But that
you know?
like when you watch that video though, like that's what makes football great and team sports fantastic. That's what makes you really miss it. Look, the big plays are the big plays. You always remember those. You always remember celebrating with your teammates and whatever. But it's those moments of being excited for individual achievements by each other. That's why I always said I loved coaching more than playing. I got more enjoyment out of watching somebody that you've coached and you've seen struggle and you've seen go through it. Maybe you coach them in high school. Maybe you signed them out of high school and college. But watching them go through that and then have success on the field meant more to me as a person, was more fulfilling to me as a person than making the play myself. Now, a lot of the guys I signed made a lot more big plays than I did, but it was always a greater feeling. I find that fascinating about team sports.
All right, first things first, Mad Veg. We can go ahead and take a moment of silence. He does not have a Chick-fil-A in his town. So,
Wait, really?
love you, dog. We'll see what we can do. Put
Hey,
us some calls.
percent. Bless
Put us
up.
some calls. He says, regional sports networks are dying out. What should be done considering its affects so many pro and college sports?
Regional sports?
Regional sports.
Like channels? He said channels?
No, I just
Or
said regional sports.
Like, you got to give me an example.
Like, what do you mean, regional sports networks, like Valley
Yeah,
South?
regional
Oh,
sports
networks.
networks, yeah.
Okay.
Networks.
Yeah.
Like how
again,
Fox Sports South became Valley South.
Yeah,
when
you're
they
fine.
bought it
You're
out.
fine. It's going to work itself out, right? Like this sports landscape's going to work itself out. If you look, like that's where the Pac-12 network screwed up. Instead of saying we're going to build this mega thing like the SEC network and the Big Ten network, they're like, no, we'll just give it to local. The local stations can handle it. The regional ones can handle it. And it just went off a cliff. I believe this is where we're going. The thing that I worry about, and I don't go to a lot of sporting events anymore. I like watching games on TV now. I've been to enough games. But I do worry down the stretch with the way that TV rights are going and how much money that TV makes. Are we, and the prices of tickets continuing to go up, are we starting to see, are we going to see an end of an era of people going to games, instead people just streaming games? And at what point, and this is my idea, and it is copyrighted and trademarked, so don't try and steal it. At what point are people going to be selling VR tickets for games that you put the goggles on and it looks like you're there, you just buy a ticket like you were going to the game, and these stands start emptying? That's what worries me. That is my idea. It is trademarked by me. If you want in on it, it'll be $50 million. Elon, looking at you, buddy.
Well, taking a camera and filming ball games and streaming it to people in their living room is too easy now for this to be a problem, for it not to be solved. You know, it's easier now to get people the content. So look, we've talked about this a lot before in terms of the regional sports networks, the model. I think it ultimately is going to come crashing down, especially as it relates to baseball. You know, like there are too many, take the Braves, for instance. There are too many Braves fans around the Southeast who want to watch the Braves play for them to not be able to because of some hang up with regional sports networks.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Do not forget, we have call-ins today. Live, you get your voice heard, and with what we got coming up, you're probably definitely going to want to have that heard at 1-855-236-3228. Go ahead and start calling in, 8:15 a.m. Eastern, 7:15 a.m. Central. If you call in a little bit before that, I'm not going to get pissed. Jess, by the way, if you call in, we need to put you in the front of the line because we did miss your call in the other day. That's 1-855-236-3228. That's all from memory. I'm definitely not reading that off the prompter right now. But you meant it easy. You talked about easy earlier. You want to know what else is easy? Look, the NBA playoffs are right around the corner, guys. And I for one, am jacked and tan about it because they actually play defense and care. But what's more American than good basketball, grilling up burgers, and kicking it at night with the boys? You no longer have to worry about running out of propane for the grill. Think smarter, not harder with Cinch. CYNCH. You're going to love this. It's a propane grill tank home delivery service. They deliver propane tanks right to your door on your schedule with no long-term commitment or subscription. You don't got to get married to Cinch. You just got to call them, and they'll come over whenever. Know you like that? Plus, delivery is completely contactless. And, you know, in case you don't like people, you don't have to be home to receive the delivery. You can track the order on the Cinch app from anywhere. You can exchange the tank. Cinch handles the whole process for you, so you don't even have to go to the hardware store or the gas station. So right now, unless you're driving, flying a plane, or operating heavy machinery, go online to cinch.com. That's CYNCH.com, or download their app to order, because new customers can get their first tank exchange for just $10 with promo code BOOSTER. We're making it easy for you, BOOSTER, to get your first tank exchange for just $10. So go to cinch.com, download the Cinch app, use that promo code BOOSTER, CYNCH.com. It's a limited time offer, and you must live within a Cinch service area to redeem it. So either you do or move. Visit cinch.com/offer for details.
Agreed.
Tony, we've used it at your house. It was an absolute smash success. Every different room I walked in, it was like a different food from a different place. We had like Colombian, Mexican, Italian, Japanese, Narnian, which I never thought you could cook.
You made it to the Narnian room?
I did. I ate that.
That's where Mr. Tumnus went.
I ate that Jello that y'all put that ayahuasca in.
All thanks to
Sweet. You had a Jello ayahuasca weekend without me?
Yeah, we had a
cool,
Jello
man.
ayahuasca weekend.
I thought you were there.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You know, we thought he was there. He was hovering above the room.
Hey, you
Yeah.
were right here.
No, but Cinch,
I appreciate
it's the move.
Hey, keep me right there.
All right, let's get the 5 big questions.
All right, 5 big questions. We haven't talked about this story yet. Memphis Grizzlies star Ja Morant was accused of repeatedly punching a teenage boy in the head and threatening him with a gun. This was last summer. This is according to Memphis police records. The alleged incident reportedly came 4 days after another incident in which Morant allegedly threatened the head of security at a Memphis mall. Both allegations are emerging about a month after several of Morant's acquaintances allegedly threatened and harassed Indiana Pacers staffers with a red laser. We've talked about Ja Morant a lot. We've talked about how he's usually one of those guys who tries to stay out of controversy. Seems like he's been getting in more trouble. Will this sort of behavior keep Ja Morant from being a mega superstar and having a long-term NBA career?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now he is a mega superstar, but if he wants to do the things that he is not only capable of, but I know what he wants to do, you got to surround yourself with new people. This is the old adage of you are what you eat, and a lot of guys, and I actually agree with what Shannon Sharp said about Ja Morant when he was talking about him. Dog, you made it out, man. Like why do athletes do this? And it's, you have nothing to prove to anybody. You don't have to be a gangster. You want to know what's more manly than being a gangster? You want to know what makes you a not harder person, but a true man, a true leader, is doing the right thing after you make it out, not reverting back to trying to prove to people that you're tough, or hanging around with a posse that wants to prove to you that they're tough and that they're badasses. Ja Morant, you made it, man. You're rich. You're in a great situation. Now, you do live in Memphis. You work in Memphis. All right, that is not the safest place in the United States when it comes down to these situations. So if it's Ja Morant, right now you have a chance, even with this stuff that's going on with the 17-year-old and the head of security, to walk away from this clean. But if you keep going down this path, something is going to happen, and you are going to get caught up in it, and it could ruin you. Is it worth it? Is it worth the way that you're able to provide for your daughter and your family? And I'm not trying to tell you how to run your business. All right, you're a grown man. You can figure it out yourself. But I think you know, and I for damn sure know, that you're playing with fire right now, man. And you're going to ruin not only yourself if you keep going down this path, but you're going to take away a chance from people that love the game of basketball to watch one of the best, most athletic and talented guys we've seen in a long time in Ja Morant in that type of body style. So you still got time. As hard as it is, I think you got to cut ties with the guys from back home that are the bad influence, because it's going to end up costing you. I've seen this movie way too many times.
Well, quit trying to be a fake gangster, man. You're not. You're not. You went to a private high school. You grew up in a 2-parent home. Both your parents were athletes in college. You had a basketball court built for you in your backyard when you were 2 years old. All right. You were in a suburban neighborhood. You're not a gangster.
You went to
Hold on. This is a Papa Doc situation?
You're Clarence. You're Clarence.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's basically
This
who
is
you
a
are.
Papa Doc situation?
It doesn't make you tough or a dog or whatever to bring a gun. Apparently it was out one. He showed up 9 guys deep after his mom got into it with somebody at a mall. 9 guys deep. So his boys were pointing hollow sights at people in the Pacers loading area after the game. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. You have a multi-$100 million deals with Powerade, with Nike. Like, you didn't make it out of nothing. You made it out of a good situation to a better situation. That's fine. But now you get here. Can we be a role model for somebody, for the kids growing up? Even if you had basically everything handed to you, which you did, you came out of a good situation. Quit acting tough. You're not a gangster, buddy. Why would you even want to be that? Why would you want to risk everything that you have now just to be cool in front of some dudes who are probably lowlifes? Stop, dude. You will get caught up in something if you keep going down this path.
No, for sure. And again, what you said about his background is 100% true. And the crazy thing is, I don't think this is Ja Morant. Like, I think this is Ja Morant trying to impress his friends who may have come from but I've seen this a million times. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about too. Just like some people try and act rich, some people try and act gangster. All right, and it is what it is. That's the society we live in. But you're rich. You're able to you're generations wealthy with the money you got. Get away from the nonsense, man. Be an adult. Get away from the nonsense.
Next one. Pistol Pete Maravich's NCAA scoring record of 3,667 remains intact for now. Antoine Davis had a chance last night for Detroit Mercy to break this record. He needed to score 26 points. He came up 3 shy, but Detroit Mercy could still get into postseason basketball. Now, they had a sub-500 record. They're not going to make the NCAA tournament, but there are a couple other basketball tournaments they could make for him to be able to beat Pistol Pete Maravich's record, which has stood for over 50 years at this point. One of the points of controversy here, though, is Pete Maravich scored 3,667 points in 83 games with no shot clock and no three-point line in only 3 years when freshmen couldn't play varsity.
Yeah.
And Antoine Davis has played 144 games in 5 years.
Pete Maravich's the leading scorer. Like, people, here's the argument people say, oh, well, it's harder to score nowadays than it was back then. Yes, if you were playing with the players from nowadays back then. Like, you can't look at it both ways. That's why I'm talking about Jacob deGrom striking Babe Ruth out 4 times. Yeah, but that's not fair to Babe Ruth. Like, nobody's out there throwing what Jacob deGrom's throwing. It's a different level because the sport has evolved. But when you have a 3-point line, and the other one doesn't, when you played 1 less year of college, and now today you can play 8 years of college with COVID, and Antoine Davis is incredible. I've watched him. Mike Davis's son, former Indiana coach, guy that's very well known in basketball circles, was a hell of a player himself. Antoine Davis, NBA player. Like, this dude is a cash money machine shooting the ball. I've watched him. He's hit many overs for the kid. All right, yeah. I've seen it. There's many times been watching ESPN Plus rooting on Antoine Davis just to shoot it every time down the court. But you cannot tell me, because with the no shot clock's a big deal too, because teams used to just play stall ball.
No doubt.
They would just dribble around the whole time and win games 4-3. That's a real thing if you don't believe me. So I think Pete Maravich is without a doubt the all-time leading scorer in college basketball. But we need to have, just for future reference, we need to have when the three-point line was established, leading scorers, and when the three-point line wasn't established. Because that's a different game.
Yeah.
It's a totally different game.
Well, my father-in-law saw Pistol Pete every time he came to play versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa when Pete was playing for LSU. The fewest points he scored, I believe, was 42, and one of them he had 42 in the second half and scored 69 points that game. Unbelievable.
Damn. Blaine's second favorite number. Right past 68. All right, that's one. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're in a good pace, though. That's one. You said 3.5?
3.5.
Got
boys.
two more to work with. Hey,
3.5.
right here.
Hey, right here. There we go. All right, next one right here. We're mind-mouthing. All right, Matthew Mayer. All right, Illinois standout, transferred from Baylor. You know, look, man, he lit it up against Michigan last night, I have to say. Said he had caffeine poisoning from drinking, 5 Monster energy drinks while going on a video game bender.
So we
over
said
there?
5. So we know he drank 5.
Hold on. I think it was 5.
Okay, like, this is the most non-surprising thing ever. That's like if you'd have told me, man gets alcohol poisoning from chugging 9 handles of Tito's vodka.
5 Monster energy drinks while playing video games on Sunday.
Yeah.
Do we know what video game he was playing?
That's relevant, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that's relevant.
Let me guess a few.
You drank
Elden Ring?
5 energy drinks?
Is he doing a speed run?
Rocket?
Like, I mean,
the dude
what's he
basically
doing?
took a speedball. I mean, 5 energy drinks? And then, oh, wow, I got caffeine poisoning. You're lucky to be alive. I'm surprised your head didn't explode.
I'm not surprised. What were they, monsters?
Monster.
Yeah. I can look at Matthew Mayer and be like, yeah, that dude would probably drink 6 Monster energy drinks. I'm not. Look at him. Pull up a picture.
Yeah,
you surprised by this?
No, I'm not surprised by it. I'm surprised that, like,
look at
people are like, oh, he got caffeine poisoning. Well, yeah. It's like, oh, I got hit in the face with a shovel. Now my face hurts.
6?
Well, of course, it's just how it works.
How can you drink 6 of them
Yeah.
and your heart doesn't explode?
Well, that's my biggest thing. It's like, how much time? Like over what span of time? Are we talking about like 5 or 6 in like a 5-hour period? Oh boy, it'd be like, the thing from The Grudge hanging in the ceiling.
Well, let's put it this way. I've never had 5 Monster energy drinks in my lifetime.
Me either.
I haven't had 5.
Me either.
I think
I'm a
tasted
Nas
one.
guy. I'm a Nas guy.
You're a Nas
But
guy?
I only drink one of them.
Nas?
Yeah.
Used to put down good tracks.
It's real Nas. It's real Nas.
Good
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah.
It's real Nas.
Jeez, can we move on? Look, if you're going to butcher something, at least let me walk in the grocery store.
International soccer sensation Lionel Messi has received death threats. Gunmen left a threatening message for the PSG forward after attacking a supermarket that is owned by Messi's in-laws. 14 shots were reportedly fired at the shutters of the front door. Nobody was injured in the early morning attack, and it's unclear why the assailants would target Messi, but they did leave a note saying, Messi, we are waiting for you. Jovkin is a drug dealer. He is not going to look after you. Now, Pablo Jovkin is the mayor of Rosario, the town we're talking about, which is the largest city in the central province of Santa Fe. What do you guys make of this? Is Messi involved in?
Well, I think the assailants missed a golden opportunity to leave a note that says, hey, Lionel, things are about to get messy. Like, I feel like they missed a golden opportunity for that, but maybe that's just
Lost in translation.
the comedian in me. What are you doing? What are you involved in? Here's my thing. They're not shooting that up for no reason. If they went in there and just kidnapped somebody for ransom, awful, but okay, they just kidnapped somebody that belonged to a rich person. What are you involved in? We're talking about the mayor now? Drug dealer?
They said Jovkin is a drug dealer.
Yeah, look,
the mayor.
anytime you start a sentence with Jovkin is a drug dealer, something sketchy's going on. Now, I don't know. I'm not the guy from Sicario. I don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if there's money in the walls, okay? But I do know this. They did that for a reason. It's like Isaac Newton said, all right? Or Cam Newton, one of the two. For every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. I can't remember which one it said. Cam or Isaac.
I think it was ice.
It was definitely Cam.
But having said that, yeah, this sounds like the start of a John Wick movie, man. I'm going to be honest. It just makes me think, Lionel, okay, y'all are running grocery stores, and we know, what happens in those places. It's not exactly running a tight ship over there when it comes to making sure, nothing extra is getting moved across.
FD, he just won the World Cup.
If you have like
Argentina.
$1 gazillion, just get security. Why don't you have security? What do you mean he can't? Can't what?
Maybe he does. Maybe they were with him. He wasn't there. Maybe they're with
You should
him.
have more security.
For everybody.
Yeah, and are you even going to catch Lionel? They've been trying to catch him for years.
Like all of a sudden,
dribble his way past
all of a
the
sudden
bullets
there's like a report
and nutmeg the guy.
All of a sudden there's like a report that comes out of like their whatever crime mob boss headquarters that somebody's launching soccer balls in there. It's like killed like 3 of them, like just soccer balls.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what you can do, Lionel?
Like Lionel
to the
Messi
US.
just on top of a hill.
Come to the U.S. All right, we'll get you a spot where you want to go.
MLS?
Nashville.
Nashville
has a team.
Nashville. We'll get you a spot, security, the whole night. You'll play for the USA World Cup soccer team. And let's see what we can do.
I didn't want to go there. I did not want to
it
go
time?
here and ask this question.
Operation Petadexterity?
Well, yes, it's been time for that, okay? You're a genius for that. But I do have to ask the question, what are the odds? This is Ronaldo's people. This could be Ronaldo fans coming out of the woodwork.
Messi's broke a lot of hearts. For a long time.
I just go back to the
Soccer
start.
fans are built different over there.
France fans, maybe?
They're over there.
The French don't have
Mbappe fans, maybe, behind this?
Yeah, the French ain't shooting nobody. We saw that in World War II. France ain't shooting nobody.
All right, last one before this ain't it. The NHL playoff race is heating up. Patrick Kane made his debut for the Rangers. Now, the Rangers lost, but boys, do y'all like this move as much as I do?
Yeah, I do. Look, playoff hockey, and y'all know this for sure, but our audience, last year we got into playoff hockey pretty hard, and I started really loving the sport of hockey because I got into it enough to really understand the mechanics of the game and what's going on. And whenever you do that, you tend to gravitate toward it more. And now that I'm able to watch it in a different way, the way I'm able to watch football, the way I'm able to watch basketball, the way I'm able to watch baseball, and that's what I tell people who are like, oh my gosh, how can you like hockey? Well, number one, I've been to a legitimate hockey game. Those are fun as hell, as fun as any game to attend. And number two is you just got to give it a chance and understand it. And it's fast paced. Like if you like basketball, you'll like hockey.
It's incredible.
Like it really is fast paced. But when it comes down to Kane, yeah, I mean, look, it's one of the biggest trades. He said it was a pretty cool experience, and we know the Rangers, how good their roster is and what they're able to do in the playoffs. So I'm excited about playoff hockey. I know the Bruins have been just running through this year, but when it comes down to the Leafs and the Rangers and teams like this, I really get excited for it. I really do.
FD?
Oh, I'm ready for playoff hockey, man. I'm ready for it. I want to see. Got let down yesterday. Went 0-2 in my hockey bets.
Did you?
Yeah, the Predators came out
Take
with
the
a big
Flyers?
win. No, of course not.
Why not?
Then I'd go definitely 0-3. I mean, what do you mean?
not?
Took
How
against
does
the
this
Predators, the
feel?
Panthers and Rangers let me down? Panthers at home, we lose to the Preds? Come on now.
Shout out
But the
Preds.
East, the NHL in the East, the trade
Shout
deadline
out
did really
Preds.
good.
You think
The rich got richer.
You think the Bruins and the Rangers will meet up in the East?
I mean, I don't think that'd be a bad bet, to be honest. Right now, like, it's kind of getting those vibes. Bruins Celtics
Kraken won a game.
kind of remind me a little bit of the Pats and the what hockey team? It's New England.
The Clam Chowders.
I can't remember,
Come
but
on, Boston Bruins?
is it Boston? Yeah, it's like Bruins. I think the Bruins Celtics you have right now, they might be the favorite to win, and then only the NBA and the NHL.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, the Kraken one. It seems like it's just a resurgence for Seattle teams that weren't.
How incredible is the run the
Yeah.
Kraken have been?
Seahawks.
One of the worst teams in hockey last season.
Yep, and then Seattle just decided to release it this year. 34-21.
I'm taking them tonight.
34-21-6 after the 5-4 overtime win over the Red Wings last night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna get to the Booster Club here in a second, but I was made aware of something yesterday, and we joke around, we have a good time on here, and y'all know that. But this is really serious. And before I get into this, I do want to remind you guys we are taking calls here very shortly. 1-855-236-3228. I want to play this video of former NFL running back Zach Stacy, who only got 6 months for this disgusting, brutal attack in front of their 6-month-old baby. And I'm going to comment on that after this. Let's play this clip so you guys can see it. Now, there are a lot of things that I will never understand. A lot of them. all right? One of them is how men can abuse women. I don't get it. And it's an absolute travesty that former NFL running back Zach Stacy only got 6 months in jail for that brutal attack against his girlfriend that you just saw, and that was right in front of his infant baby. And he went back for more. We didn't play the whole thing, but you can see that on the internet. Now, let me be the first to say that Zach Stacy is not only an embarrassment to himself, but he is an embarrassment to men who actually care about women. That is not a man that you just saw right there. That's a coward. That's a punk. Now, there are, however, a vast majority of men who understand how women deserve to be treated with the utmost respect and dignity and who want to do right by them. But this is a symptom of a much bigger societal problem that we have right now. And there are many debates currently going on about how men in this country are failing, whether it be domestic violence situations like this or fathers abandoning their children and their duties in the home. Men do have to do better, and behavior like that is unacceptable. But it seems as though men who believe in treating women the right way are the ones who are under attack from women. We're told how horrible masculinity is and how it's toxic to want to provide, respect, and lead for our families the way that our fathers did before us. And when you indoctrinate men to think like that, it lessens the value that men see in women, which lead to more tragedies like this. Now, we come from all different religious backgrounds, races, and different walks of life. We who want to celebrate what makes us different from women, not pretend to be the same as them. Those of us who don't want to control women. Those of us who believe in the nuclear family and who don't want men taking over your sports and being in your bathrooms and locker rooms. And we want to protect you from garbage like Zach Stacy. But how are we supposed to do what we know is right when all we get told is how wrong men have always been? Men are here to defend women, not beat them, not abandon them, and not pretend to be them. 6 months for this is an absolute joke. When you have evidence as damning as this, in my opinion, you should throw his ass under the jail. Hell, we'll help you. Now, after this, I'll probably be painted as a misogynist by the blue checks and those who pretend to care about women. And that's fine. I can take that. I'm a man. But mark my words, the further we go away from men being allowed to be the right kind of men, the more Zach Stacys that we'll actually create. It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
way to point that out.
It's the truth, man. Like again, we are in such a bad point. And Zach said this is one of many instances of what happens. And look, men have been beating on women for, before any of this craziness in society, but we're creating more of them because we lessen the value of women. Because the way that men, at least the way that I think, and like I said, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Muslim, whatever. And I know there's some religions that don't believe women should have rights and things like that. I think that's crazy. But you create a system into where women aren't looked at as something that needs to be protected or something that is fragile compared to the biological makeup of a man. Like, you talk about equal? You saw the way Zach Stacy was able to handle that girl like it was nothing. This is why we say how dangerous this craziness is. And we're the ones that are vilified, right? We're the ones that are told that we're wrong or we're misogynistic or we hate women, when all we're trying to do is treat women the way that most women want to be treated. And I don't want to broad brush this thing and say that all women attack men like this, but it's the same groups that say they care about women are the same one that hate the way that men who care about women act. That's the biggest problem.
Well, you just saw that instance of domestic battery in high definition. Imagine how often that happens and it's not caught on camera. That was the thing that I was thinking, but good on you to call it out, man.
Yeah, it's the truth. But on a lighter note, we have our good friend Danny Kanell. Really excited to get him on a fantastic interview. We're going to be coming back with phone calls as well. So go ahead and start calling in right now, 1-855-236 3228.
There it is.
There it is. All right, let's go ahead and get to the Danny interview. All right, very excited to be joined by a guy we've had on here before. We love mixing it up with. Was a hell of a player. Now he does a fantastic job covering multiple sports. You can catch him on Sirius XM, channel 84 from 7 to 9. Mad Dog Radio, noon to 3 p.m. That's channel 82. CBS Sports HQ, the Cover 3 podcast. And just walk outside. He's probably there waiting to tell you a sports
new cover of Vogue.
Anyway. Our buddy, new cover of GQ with Russell Wilson. Danny Kanell. DK, what's up, man?
How you guys doing, man? It's never an off season, right? Just hustling.
Yeah.
I got mouths to feed, but I'm fired up to be on with you guys. Always love our visits, man. Good to be back on.
Definitely. It's always fun. It seems like every time you come on, Cone's got another kid. They got number 2 now.
Yeah.
Hashtag girl dad.
Yeah.
Hashtag mouths to feed, Danny. We're in the trust tree, buddy.
Yeah,
I feel
man.
ya.
It's straight
That's right.
grapes of wrath going on right now over there.
I'm girl dad too. I got one more. I got 3. So, but no more on the way. Not that we know of. So my wife, that would be if I could slip one past the goalie,
Yeah.
I would get it done. But she does not want to have number 4.
Yeah.
I want to keep going, but she does. She's done.
No, I'll never forget. After we had Blaine, my dad looked at my mother and was like, "Well, I know one of us is getting a hysterectomy. You could guess who did that." Danny, I want to go. I want to read you a now deleted tweet. I thought I'd start off our visit with a bang because why the hell not? It's 2023. We're not going to be around for that much longer anyway. So I thought I'd read you a tweet that got deleted. We all know the beef between A.J. Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. And I'm just going to read it because it's what A.J. sent to Juju because apparently Juju's been making TikToks, shockingly, about A.J. Brown. It starts out on Twitter where A.J. Brown tags at Team Juju and says, "You really need to find you somebody else to play with. Don't let that ring get you beat the F up because I'm not with all the dumb shit. I'm not going to speak on it no more." But then he decided to speak on it a little bit more when he sent a message directly to Juju that said, "I don't play them kids games. If you want to see me, I'm with it. You better go to Cabo and enjoy your ring and stop effing with me. Leave me off your TikTok." Your thoughts, Danny?
I love it. I am firmly on Team AJ Brown. I'm on Team Brown for sure.
Yeah.
Team Juju. It is like I don't know if you guys noticed this the day after the Super Bowl, whenever this initially started and Juju thought it was hilarious to throw the jokes out there at the Eagles and AJ Brown. A lot of NFL players chimed in and they were on Team Brown as well.
Yeah.
Like the TikTok stuff does get old and it does feel like somebody feels like they're way more important than they really are, especially as it pertains to the Chiefs' success. He had a good year, but like this is not the reason they won. So it's best just to pipe down. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of corny, but I'm totally on AJ Brown's side. And I don't think Juju wants any part of that.
No. Look, in real life, we know when it comes down to squaring up, I'm taking A.J. Brown 10 out of 10 times. I will say, if Juju would have cooked James Bradberry the whole game, like I'm talking racked up like 150, 2 touchdowns, made like a one-handed catch over him or something, I would not have as big of a problem with it as the biggest play you made was a holding call at the end that ended up pretty much deciding the game. So it wasn't like Juju Smith-Schuster was out there balling.
Or if Bradberry had been complaining about the call and saying we got robbed, Bradberry handled it the exact way he should have. He's like, I grabbed his jersey. It was my fault. It's all on me. Like he handled it with class. That's why I thought the shots were completely below the belt.
Agreed.
For sure. And James Bradberry stood there in that locker room and answered every question from every reporter. I think it tells you what to. I'll go to war with the James Bradberry every day over
I will
Juju
too.
Smith-Schuster.
It's the smart play in the long run because he knows everybody wants a teamate like that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
exactly
everybody
right.
wants a teammate.
That's exactly right. That I mean, to be honest with you, the only difference between Juju Smith-Schuster and Jackson Mahomes is that one of them actually steps on the field, doesn't stay on the sidelines, even though neither one of them really should, in my opinion. But Danny, let's go ahead and shift it. I want to ask you about your alma mater. Made some waves. We talked about it this week. Talking about not happy with the business model, kind of the ACC is looking, when you look at how much Florida State makes them, and Clemson's in the same boat to what they're getting. Could we see Florida State in the SEC in the future? And Danny Kanell, big SEC guy, what?
I don't know what the future holds, but I can guarantee you one thing. You will never hear me chanting SEC, SEC. You'll never hear that.
Dude, I can't wait. We'll save the tape. We'll save the tape.
You will never see me rooting. Like if Florida State's in the SEC, I'm supposed to root for the Gators. That would never happen. Or any other team in the SEC. I will only, just the way it's always been, I will only root for Florida State because that's all you're supposed to do. Rooting for your conferences is for losers. The teams, and those are always the people that chant the loudest. It's like the South Carolinas, the Kentuckys, Tennessee recently. Like it's all the teams that have no success. They all want to jump on there and start claiming the titles of the conference because they don't have one. So you will never see that. In all seriousness. Go ahead.
No, yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think, though, when you do look at that revenue model? I get what Michael Alfred's saying. Like, I 100% get it. If I'm a branch manager at a corporation and I'm looking at where I'm at and the way this money's getting divvied out compared to another branch manager, you got Scranton and then somebody else over there that's making more money. Like, to me, that is a problem, though. You can't be $30 million in the hole per year when you look at Florida and talking about your arch rival, but just in general in the NIL race now, you can't.
Florida State won't be able to keep up with Kentucky. I mean, because it's a spending race. We all see what happens. And, the SEC, ever since the SEC network was launched, they've had deeper pockets. The Big Ten network has had deeper pockets. And I'm going back 10 years and look at the results. That's why they have separated themselves. Like at the peak anti-SEC Danny Kanell, which was, like, I don't even like saying that, but like at its
just
peak,
yesterday.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I had a stronger case because I did think the conference was overrated, and there were teams that were getting gifts and they'd get more credit for wins, and some of that still does happen. But you cannot deny that over the last 10 years, the conference has elevated itself to a place where all of a sudden that gap, because they get 1 or 2 years where they get 4 or 5 players. More players drafted in the NFL, and they started claiming that. But then the gap starts to separate, and it's because of the investment they've made in the recruiting budgets, in the facilities, in the coaching staffs, and salaries. Like, they've spent a lot of money to get to where they are now, and it's only going to increase, and that disparity is only going to get larger. So as soon as I saw the SEC deal come out, the Big Ten network, or the Big Ten TV deal, not the SEC network, but like the big TV deals that they're starting to sign with multiple networks, and you start seeing the money that you're coming in, I'm like, I don't know how Florida State survives. It is not sustainable. And that is exactly the quote that really resonated with me with Michael Alford when he was meeting with the Board of Trustees. He said, something has to change. And so basically he's presenting a problem, and he's basically putting the ball back in Jim Phillips' court, and the commissioner of the ACC, and saying, all right, we have a problem. We need some solutions. And some of those solutions are, a revenue model where it's not an equal revenue share, which I would tend to agree with. Like, why does Florida State get the same payout that Boston College does? Like what value does Boston College bring to the ACC compared to FSU? Same thing with Syracuse. You go down the list of schools, and they're nowhere close to what Florida State brings in. So why does Florida State have to sit there in the same rut, getting the same as they are, and it doesn't make any sense? So he's putting that ball back in Jim Phillips' court and saying, all right, now it's up to you to keep us happy. And Clemson and Florida State are tied at the hip. And we saw Clemson's athletic director come right out. It's a really smart move because they're the best football brands in the conference. So I think the future is very uncertain. I would put it like 50-50 that the timeline of this is like, if you said eventually and you said 10 years, I'd say Florida State, there's probably an 80% chance they're in the SEC, in 10 years. But like, how much damage is done if we have to wait 10 years? Because that disparity is gonna continue to grow. The other interesting angle to this, and I'm curious to know what you guys think of this. If Jim Phillips, who inherited this TV deal, he's a great commissioner, and he's done a phenomenal job trying to deal with the cards he's been dealt, because he inherited this TV deal, which is till 2036, which is insane. It was really a bad TV deal. If you're Jim Phillips, don't you think you go to ESPN and you say, look, you own us. You have a vested interest in the success of the ACC, just like you do with the SEC. If you want us to survive, you've got to figure out something, whether it's a new deal, but in today's environment, with the economy going the way it is, the business the way it is, like, they have zero incentive to do that. And they're not, it's not going to be out of goodwill. But somehow you've got to convince ESPN to potentially come back to the table and create value. We always hear Sankey talk about, hey, I like to create value. But how do you create some value so that Florida State, Clemson have more interest? And aside from a new TV deal or a split revenue model that's completely different, they're not going to be around for long, because, as Michael Alford said, things cannot stay the same.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he explains it by let them fight in any sport, like
all
hockey.
sports.
Let them fight for 2 minutes. Makes sense.
Well, ESPN's getting an extreme discount on the 3 million eyeballs that watch Florida State football every week, right now as it stands, where they'd have to pay a lot more if you join the SEC, which they may have to at some point. But Danny, the NCAA Rules Committee has issued some proposals to shorten the length of college football games. And it has everything to do, Danny, with player safety, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Not about running more commercials. Don't you dare say that.
Yeah.
So I guess in question form, it would be, one, do the powers that be in college football think we're stupid and we don't notice the play here? Or two, do they not care if we're stupid or not because they know that they can just push this through?
Come on, Cone. You didn't see the numbers, the statistics they put out there that 7
8
or 8
plays. You'll say 7
or 8 plays a game, and if
Come
you
on,
do
man.
the
Like a
math,
Flex Steel commercial. But wait, there's more. If you call
Let's
right
just-
now,
Blaine said it best.
We'll
Let's-
give you one last timeout.
Let's just simulate the whole game. No
Yeah.
one will ever get hurt.
like the NBA.
right?
No one will ever get hurt.
So I actually like the rule proposals, and it does appear they're going to pass. And as soon as 23, like this upcoming season, we could see games with running clocks after first downs, just like the NFL. So like I've always been a proponent of why is it so different college and the NFL rules? And I didn't like it as a college player who went and was drafted by the Giants. It takes some time getting used to. There's little nuances. And man, when you start getting that play clock and the ball and there's not stopping, it happens fast. Like it's coming at you. And it was an adjustment. And it is for every rookie that goes to the league. Like, why not just sync it up? Why not just have it be the same in college? But I do think and the same thing with like the other, like the very common sense, like the whole untimed down at the end of the quarter, just carry it over, start the next quarter.
But see, like Danny, I don't think that's the one. Like that. No, I'm fine with the clock running after a first down like it does in the NFL.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with that. The clock running after an incomplete pass when the ball's spotted is absolute buffoonery.
Even that, though,
Right.
even that, if that were the status quo in college football, and always had been, none of us would be saying anything. Danny, what I'm talking about is the slippery slope of continuing to chip away at the product while jamming in more advertisements. I'm going to call it the potato chip bag theory, okay? You get a bag of potato chips, and every year you get fewer and fewer potato chips, right? The bag is less than half empty now. You're going to get less and less football in the same 3-hour time frame, and you're going to get more and more advertisements, which it's already hard for me to watch an entirety of a college football game because the ads are just so prevalent throughout. Do you disagree with me there?
No, I think you're right. I cannot stand at how many commercial breaks there are. I mean, if you ask me, like my preference, and this is how a lot of times I'll watch an NFL just because Sundays are kind of an off day, is I'll record the games and I'll just speed through them. And like you can cut off. And like the way the NFL, I think the NFL Plus now, they have the games that are condensed, and you can watch a whole game in an hour without all the stoppages that take place. It's pretty wild.
Red Zone
but I do think,
amazing.
I think it is I think this is the TV networks that want to condense the 4-hour games into at least 3.5, where it is more manageable. But if they were really concerned about that, like, why don't they do double boxes during extra points? Like, there's a lot of things they could do that are outside the box that could get more mainstream, that could speed up the action as far as having to wait. Like other sports are doing this. Like you don't want a total break in the action.
Yeah.
And if you went to a double box during extra points, like you can still see the action. So you don't have to feel like, oh, what, I gotta wait 3 minutes. You might want to watch it. So I think there's other ways they could look at to try for solutions. And thank goodness they came to their senses, because there were 4 rule proposals put forward and 3 of them look like they're going to pass. Because if they would have gone down the slippery slope and said, we're going to keep the clock running as soon as the ball is set after incomplete passes, then that's a significant drastic change that I don't think is necessary. And we don't want to go down that road.
That's what Josh Page said would happen in the past 3.
We are still we're still so worried. It's a violent sport. The sooner we come to that realization and say, you know what, it's a dangerous sport, and stop this facade that we can make it safe. I mean, guys get hurt playing 7-on-7. Myles Garrett was hurt in the Pro Bowl playing 7-on-7. Injuries are part of sports, whether it's football, soccer, basketball, whether you're in pads or not. Why do we keep trying to make sports safe when they're not supposed to? They have inherent risk.
Yeah.
We're soft. Society, we're turning soft.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the bag of potatoes.
That's a really good theory.
Let's run with that.
But the thing about it, they're going to keep buying the bag of potatoes.
Let's run with that.
Yeah.
That should be your thing.
I want a bag of potato chips next time.
You actually had one earlier, Dad. Watch you. Danny, I got a question for you. You kind of see it's a lot more nowadays in sports, and Title IX is coming down in the next couple months, and you're a father of 3 girls. So I kind of want to get your thoughts as we see men slowly infringe on women's sports, and where do you kind of stand in this entire thing?
I mean, this to me is one of those head scratchers where you're like, how did we get to this point where we have biological males competing against biological females? And it blows my mind that the NCAA, who has always been a proud proponent of Title IX and equality in sports and women's rights and having, putting women's sports on a pedestal, and as a father of 3 daughters, I've loved it. Like, how could they let what transpired in the swimming championships with Leah Thomas, how could they let that happen and think it was a good thing? It's just beyond me. And there's some things where you look at and you're just like, it completely boggles my mind. Like, where is the common sense? Yeah. And I do think we all, like, as a society, we want to be sensitive to everybody's rights. Like, how come no one has suggested that a trans athlete, maybe we need our own category? Like,
that's what I've been saying that every day for a year and a half.
Why has that not been put forward by anybody? Because that seems fair. Like, if Leah Thomas does not feel comfortable competing against biological males and says she's a biological woman, why don't we have either that category or a category for trans athletes?
Yeah.
Like, that are all together and they can compete together. Because I don't ever want to eliminate somebody's ability to compete. So why hasn't that been brought forward? It makes zero sense to me why no one's brought that forward. But I mean, I just saw there was a school in Vermont that is a high school that took its team off the court because the other team had a biological male and it was an all-girls team. And they said, no, it's not fair. And I'll tell you, if my daughters were in the same situation, I'd probably do the same thing, because
I would too.
Somebody has to start taking a stand and protecting biological females' rights to compete in a fair playing field, or else eventually you're going to see their opportunities taken away, just like you saw Riley Gaines' national championship taken away.
That's exactly right. I'm going to get off my lawn on it. Danny, I think there's a couple reasons. This is Jake Crane speaking. One, if we fix the problem, there's no longer a problem, and that's going to piss a lot of people off because they want to complain about something. And then the second thing is, if you do make a trans division, then you will have a group that will say, well, that's not treating trans people like male or female, even though they believe there's more than 2 genders, which makes no sense at all. Yep. But that's Jake Crane speaking. Yep. Danny Kanell, catch him on Sirius, CBS Sports HQ. I don't know why I said CBS Sports HQ like that. That was very Dr. Evilish of me. And the Cover 3 podcast, where rumor has it, Danny, Bud Elliott has never blinked during a video podcast.
The only reason he blinks is look at all his screens, all his analytics.
Yeah, well, it's when the computer resets, of course. It's when it's, hit the button, David. All right, is the soundboard on right now?
You want shutdown?
Yeah. There you go. Great job. Danny, always appreciate you coming on, my friend. Tell everybody what you have coming down the pipe.
Headed to the Combine, actually interviewing the top 5 quarterbacks coming up. So checking out for that on CBS Sports HQ. Excited about that. Don't buy in to the guys that get hyped up because they look good in shorts and a t-shirt.
Say Will Levis. Say Will Levis. Say Will Levis. Say it, Danny. I know you want to say it because we believe it too. We appreciate it, my friend. All right, Danny Kanell. Always great stuff. We got to get to calls. Let's get to calls.
Guess who's first?
Ghostbusters.
Jess from Georgia.
Yes.
Made good.
Yes.
Calling back in from Wednesday, and we're going to make good by getting to the call.
Yeah.
Jess, what's going on?
Hey, nothing much. I need to pick y'all's brain. I love books. I run a book podcast, but I am sorely not well read on sports books. What do I need to add to my to-be-read list?
Wow. Well, look, if you were 12 years old, I would just give you the Matt Christopher collection and let you go knock yourself out. But
that's a good collection.
Since you're an adult, there's a lot of different ways you can go. I think you need to start with Ken Burns' baseball.
Yeah?
That's what I think you need to start with. Start with that. We'll work it. But the greatest sports book, apparently, Flaming Dragon has it over here.
Look at that.
Say It So by Ben Shapiro's dad.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Dad.
Oh,
Phenomenal. I haven't finished it yet. Great read. Great read.
Yep,
so like each chapter, it alternates. Like Ben writes a chapter, Ben's dad writes a chapter.
It's great stuff.
Very solid.
It's great stuff. There you go, Jess. It's that easy.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks for the recommendation.
Jess, what part of Georgia are you calling in from?
Greater Northern Atlanta area.
Ooh, we know it well.
Yeah, know it very.
We
very
came from
well.
Roswell and Marietta.
That's exactly right.
We did.
That's exactly
Oh, there we
right.
go.
Thanks for calling in, Jess.
Yes,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Call again soon.
Thank
All right, Gavin calling in from Pennsylvania. What's going on, Gavin?
California.
Yeah, so we talking a little bit about like the Braves and baseball. It makes me think having to prepare myself a little bit for the emotional roller coaster that there is every year. I guess my question I have for you guys, is it tougher to be the fan of a team that's really, really good during the regular season and finds a way to lose in the playoffs, or a team that's just not good at all? Which is worse to be a fan of?
Oh, well,
Such a good question.
that's the ultimate question, right? The chicken and the egg of sports. I would much rather at least my team have a chance to win it.
Exactly.
Like, part of me wants to say I don't want to get my hopes up and then get my guts ripped out, but part of loving sports, part of rooting on a team, and one of the reasons that sports is a great teacher of life is that you learn how to deal with failure even after you've put in a ton of hard work and thought you did everything right, put your socks on the right order, went whatever sports bar to watch your team that you're superstitious they win at. That's part of the journey, just like life. So I'll take the team that at least has a chance.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Give me that team who's I'm living it right now as a Michigan alum
Yankees
and as a
now.
Michigan Yankees, get out of here. When David Cohn comes on, we'll have a conversation. But for the last 2 seasons, this past decade, it was tough to be a Michigan fan. 0 Big Ten championships, 0 college football playoff appearances, no wins over Ohio. The past 2 seasons, being able to accomplish all 3 of those things, but not get over the hump and actually be national champion, I have to tell you, it feels a lot better than what was going on before.
How about baby Ace never lost doesn't know what it's like to lose though.
Don't talk to me about it. First of all, and he's seen the Braves win a World Series.
Yeah.
He doesn't have
He's already-
any idea
That's
what's about to happen.
He was born in
I don't want to hear
privilege.
any complaints when you're a teenager and your team
Yeah, that's
lost
exactly
a game.
right.
You know,
We got Flyers fans over here on set.
You're damn right. Sold that jersey out quick. There's a reason I'm a fan of him. There's a reason I can't say on YouTube.
and Gavin's calling in from Pennsylvania.
That's exactly
right,
Gavin, are you a Flyers fan as well?
No, so I grew up in the Atlanta metro area. So
Yeah, you did.
Metro
I don't
Boomin.
I have no hockey affiliation right
Bro.
now because we can't keep a team.
Now you do, Gavin. Welcome to the Flyers, bro.
Yeah, Blaine has just
Welcome
Blaine
to the
has just
Flyers.
drafted
No.
you to the
No,
Flyers.
no.
Pick up the phone. Who this? You're a Flyers.
What high school did you go to, Gavin?
Newton High School over in Newton County.
Newton.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There you go. Love to hear it.
Damn.
Thanks for calling in, buddy.
Appreciate it, Gav.
Appreciate it. All right, Tommy coming in hot from Florida.
Tommy boy.
Tommy boy, what's going on?
Hey guys, so listen, I was calling because I've been seeing some stuff recently about the NFL talking about banning the QB sneak that Philadelphia was running last year with Jalen Hurts. And as a huge Eagles fan, you know, I was always curious as we started doing it early in the season. I was surprised that other teams wouldn't try to implement it. Seems like a pretty simple formation. You've got the Saints with someone like Taysom Hill where, you know, he would obviously be able to plow through that. I just kind of want to get your thoughts. You know, do you guys think the NFL is actually going to ban it, and why would they?
Well, I'm a defensive guy. Let me preface before I say anything else. I do think the NFL is going to make some sort of adjustment to the rule.
Yes.
Does that mean you can only have one guy that can push you at a time, as opposed to what the Eagles did where they turned it into a rugby scrum? Some teams will not do it because they are worried about the quarterback getting hurt. Other teams, if it's allowed, will start to do it. You saw it a little bit during the regular season last year, even in the playoffs a little bit. My biggest problem with it is we all know the rules are slanted to help the offense. I think offensive guys, defensive guys, special teams guys can come together and agree on that, okay? If we're going to have forward progress on offense, where you get to be as forward as your progress, right when you hit that, your progress is stopped, well, you're right there. It's not if you get pushed backwards, it's where your forward progress is stopped. If we're going to have forward progress and you're not going to let me push them backwards and change the spot, then I don't think you should have 4 people that are allowed to push a guy forward and turn it into a rugby scrum. That's what I believe. Now, if the NFL goes the way they typically go, they're going to err on the side of the offense, which, hell, means you may be allowed to push them 10 seconds after the play's over. I don't know. But in my opinion, I think only one person should be able to push at a time.
You're exactly right. The issue is the forward progress. You're exactly right on this issue. The issue is the forward progress. If you're going to keep a play like that, then the defender should be able to push the offense back, and that's where you're stopped, not where your progress is forward. I do think the NFL will make a tweak here, mostly because we've seen in the past, anything that becomes automatic in the game, they're going to tweak. This is why they moved the extra point back. And look, it's more interesting, right? The extra point is more interesting when it gets moved back. On the question there, Tommy, of will other teams implement it, I think you will see some, but then again, not every team has a quarterback who squats 700 pounds.
Yeah, Jalen's a big part of that too.
All right, Tommy, appreciate it, man. Thanks,
Tommy.
Tommy.
Before we get to the next call, Jake did say Blaine 3 times. So that's at 4.
When?
Blaine. Do you want to count that as 1? But he said it 3 full times.
Not during the Danny Kanell
interview, right?
During the Flyers phone call.
Does that put us over? Or
yeah, you're over.
I thought it was 3.5.
Well, we just hit
We're
4.
at 2, so now we're at 5.
No, we weren't at 2.
No, we're at 4. We were
Oh,
at 1,
okay,
and
so
then
we're
he
at
said
4, so
Blaine
yeah.
and the
3.
over-under was 4.5, right?
No,
so
it's
we're
3.5.
All right.
No,
Sorry you had to hear that,
Hold
Tommy.
on.
You needed a dub on a Friday, boys. There we go. There
Man,
we
you went
go.
rapid fire with the. I didn't hear it.
Hey, so look.
I don't
got
know.
it
We
last
have to
week.
hear-
You didn't
I
get
have-
it this week.
No,
It's okay.
I have
There'll
to
be another
hear
Fridays.
the whole enunciation.
There'll be another Fridays.
Ask the
There we
next
go.
caller how
There'll
they
be a
feel.
review.
All right, David from Tampa, Florida. How do you feel, man?
Then I want to break everything in this studio now, to be honest with you.
What's going on, David?
Hey guys, what's up? This is actually my second time calling into the show, and I do want to confirm, by the way, because I didn't do so last time. It is me, David S., aka David Street.
Yes. David Street. Are you the one who sent me this Michigan Dad mug?
Yes.
Oh,
savant.
thank you, sir.
What a
I appreciate
savant.
it. Every morning I drink my coffee and tea out of this.
Oh, dude, you are very welcome. Actually, a funny thing about that is, and I didn't really think about this at the time, but I find it hilarious that now I'm basically the reason that your kids have no choice but to go to Michigan now.
There it is.
That is true. Flaming Dragon and I were talking about that yesterday. I said if I have
say my name at this point.
That's that inside prop.
If I have a mug that says Michigan Dad, they either have to go to
So
Michigan.
if I send you a mug that says Auburn Dad, is Ace going to Auburn?
Well, I've watched an Auburn game and I am a dad, so
There it is. So it's an option. Yankees fan, going to Auburn. I like where we're headed.
you and Darby Lou talk it out, all right?
All right.
David, I really want to participate in this call, but I'm just still kind of pissed off right now. So I'm going to let these two handle it. It's great to hear from you.
What's your question, David?
Yeah. But yeah, you're good. Well, just a couple things. First off, I just want to congratulate you guys on your 1-year show anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy watching and listening to you guys. Yeah, of course. And then the other thing, too, is I have a take that's going to trigger a certain fan base, but the Boston Bruins are not going to make the Stanley Cup Finals. That's my prediction.
Ooh, David, why? Give it real quick. Tell us why.
Yes, well, you got to understand that as a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, I have seen this personally. You know, a team just goes berserk and wastes all its energy in the regular season. Then the playoffs begin, and said team is out of gas, while the other teams that got in and didn't go crazy in the regular season hit another gear. Now, I'm not saying that the Bruins are going to get swept in the first round like we did. That was an unusual occurrence that will probably never happen again. I just don't think they'll make the finals. I think they'll run into a hot team, probably in the Eastern Conference Finals, and probably the Carolina Hurricanes if I had to pick, and I think they'll lose to them.
But David, you're exactly right. We see this a lot. You're talking about the Lightning from what, 2018, something like that, won 62 games, tied the record, lost in the first round. Well, they tied the Red Wings team from 96, also didn't make the Stanley Cup Finals. You see it in other sports as well. Last year, Tennessee baseball was the best team in the country. Didn't make it out of the Super
That's
Regional.
a great example.
And the East is daunting.
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
you say that about the Lightning, or you could just say the Toronto Maple Leafs every year.
That's true too.
Yeah.
They didn't tie a record, but yeah.
Yeah, they get in the playoffs and just Drew Barrymore from 51st.
So you think what round do you think the Bruins will lose in then?
I think they'll go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think they'll lose to the Carolina Hurricanes in 7 games. I think it'll be a bloodbath, but I think they'll lose to the Hurricanes in 7 games, and I think the Hurricanes are going to win the Eastern Conference.
I'll take you one
I
further. I
love
think
that.
the Celtics and the Bruins both lose.
I'll take you one even further. I think the Philadelphia.
Appreciate it, David.
Thanks,
so
David.
much for calling in, and thanks for the mug, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to Jack calling in from a place you guys know well, Mobile, Alabama. What's going on, Jack?
Hey, guys, good morning.
Morning.
So, I don't know if y'all heard about this, but Ole Miss and Louisiana Tech have big beef from the from the midweek game in baseball. I would like y'all's thoughts as players, because as a baseball player myself, if I found out my coach said not to start the field, I'd be very upset.
So I want to make sure, Jack, that I say this correctly because I saw this. So Ole Miss was losing in the 7th inning, I believe, to Louisiana Tech by a run, and so it started to rain, and they didn't tarp the field. So the game, because of rain, got postponed, right? And it went long enough to where they said, all right, we're calling the game. And when that happens, you have to go back to the score in the 6th inning. And Ole Miss was up 4-3, so Ole Miss gets
You can't take runs away.
Okay.
You can't take runs away.
I'm with you on that. Ole Miss, though, did not tell the NCAA to make that rule. That is a rule that Ole Miss knew existed. Get mad at me for implementing rules that are unfair, but do not get mad at me for using rules to my advantage that I did not implement. Sure. That's what the same thing I say when people are like, oh, Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes. And he's like, well, I found a loophole in the tax system. I'm not getting mad at you about that. You didn't set the tax system.
Wait, so are you telling me that the NCAA dropped the ball on a rule change?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
I'm shocked on a Friday.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not me.
Who would have
Look at
thought?
us.
But no, I don't think it's bad on Ole Miss. I feel unfortunate for Louisiana Tech. Ole Miss didn't call the NCAA before the year and it's like, guys, what if we made like the 6th inning rule?
You can't take runs away, man.
Yeah, like,
He didn't tarp the field. He knew what he was doing.
That's exactly right. He's like, what was the score? He's like, John, what was the score in the 6th?
Yeah.
Like, we're up 4-3. Yeah. Drowned it.
Some guy in that dugout looked like Jonah Hill and went straight up to
yes.
World Coach.
It's like, I don't care if we freaking drown the whole field.
Baseball beef's the best.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jack.
Appreciate it, Jack. Thanks so much,
buddy.
man. Call again soon. All right, Andrew calling from West Virginia. What's going on, Andrew?
Take me home.
Sup, Crane and Co. Happy 1 year, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my 2 questions are for, I think the Pac-12 is gonna collapse. So because they lost 2 of their biggest programs, they're going to be leaving next year. And from what I've heard, they haven't negotiated a new deal anywhere. So what do you think the Pac-12 should do if they're going to continue forward on because they're losing 2 of their biggest programs?
Yeah. Well,
and my second question is.
Oh, good. Good.
And my second question is for Flaming Dragon. I heard you're also a Yankees fan and baseball season's around the corner. Do you think that the Yankees will ever win a World Series within our lifetime? Because the last time the Yankees won a World Series was back in 2009, and they haven't won anything since then.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 questions.
You want to answer that one first?
Well, until they come out with a public apology, I don't think we will. I don't think well, there's a dark cloud.
There is.
Over the organization right now after what they did to me on Twitter. So I don't think they will unless they get more before the All-Star break. Aaron Judge will hit 1,000 home runs during the season, but T-Rex will get in the playoff and forget how to swing. Yeah. So right now, I don't care. You can do great in the regular season. I'm all for it. But no one remembers how great you are in the regular season. They remember how great you are in the postseason. Until we have guys show up in the postseason and be who they really are, we're paying them all this damn money to just completely fade away in the postseason, I don't think we'll win one. And until I get a public apology by the President of the United States, I don't think we will.
I'm going to give you the last 13 minutes just to trash the Yankees because that was just, I love hearing you say that.
Well, they should be trashed after what they did, basically Don Lemon got on there and CNN.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he wasn't in his prime, that's for sure. Andrew, when it comes to the first question, I mean, the longer the Pac-12 waits to get this media rights deal, the worse it looks. I mean, are we going to be looking up 6 months from now and they're just going to like sign a deal with the OnlyFans? Like Caleb Williams has to show his feet before he snaps the ball? But in all seriousness, though, the way it's looking to me is, they live in a different world on the West Coast, right? It's these presidents of these schools in the Pac-12. Like, they're right by Amazon and these Silicon Valley type places. So I think they see the streaming service as opposed to like the linear services where you can watch on anything where, like we see in normal college football. I think you're going to get a blend in the Pac-12. I think you're going to get some games that are shown on ESPN. I think it's going to be an ESPN deal and possibly Apple and Amazon. There's a world where those three kind of split up the Pac-12. You have the Friday night games and things like that. I don't believe that streaming with Apple and stuff like that is the move with college football and sports in general, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But if they're able to find a way to blend ESPN, Apple, and Amazon into one thing that encompasses everything, it could work. All right, it could work. But a lot of this is going to come down to how quality the teams are in the conference, like it always does. You're losing USC, you're losing UCLA. That's going to be hard to make up. But if they're going to do a deal, I think a 2 or 3-pronged deal is the way to go if the Pac-12 wants to survive. Will they survive? Every week that goes by without them having a deal for media rights makes me think it's less likely that they actually do survive down the road.
Yep, no doubt. Appreciate it, Andrew. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to get to It's Mid, right?
Yeah, let's get to It's Mid.
But Cody, I know Cody has another recruiting profile. Remember it. Call in next Monday.
Cody,
same for Matthew, Peter, and Anthony. We want to hear from you guys next week, all right?
Yeah, Matt, Peter, and Anthony. Isn't that like half the bottom?
I'm glad we got Jess on that first call.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Yeah.
All right,
Whose coffee is
It's
it?
Mid. I'm going to control the chat, though.
Hey, I don't even know if you got to worry about the podium.
No, I don't. I like the podium coming out, dude.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Okay. What do they call that? That complex?
What's that?
Jack Complex?
No, I think they call it dumbass.
Hey, kids watch this show, all right? We don't need that disrespect.
Look, that's what you.
I
call
apologize,
it. That's what you call
audience,
a
for
donkey.
him. I
That's what you call a
apologize for
donkey.
him.
Don't apologize.
So I was running through this week. What did I really want to do It's Mid on? All right, sad to David, racked his brain, didn't ask Jake. But I'm gonna do it on action movies.
Really?
On
Really?
movies. Oh yeah. Run the graphic. God, I'm so glad you hit the over in Flaming Dragon today. God,
You know what? How about I just strangle you?
The first one's easy. We've talked about this on the show. It's the Taken series. All right. At what point do y'all not have custody of these guys? 3 times. 3 times. What are y'all doing? Homeschooler. Please quit sending her places. Hire Jason Statham as her bodyguard. Do something. Entire movie's the entire thing. Liam Neeson's doing some accountant work. Someone calls him, says something about his OnlyFans, and he has to go get his daughter. Jesus Christ. Every movie. Next up, I might get some hate for this, but this was what this segment's meant for. The Terminator movies.
Terminator?
I'm with you on this.
They're just not good.
I'm with you on
They're
this.
just not. First of all, I'm not a fan of, other than the Predator, I'm not a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger acting.
Okay, now you can watch.
I'm really not. It's mediocre to me. If I wanted to watch an older guy chase around 19-year-olds, I would just call Leonardo DiCaprio. That's the only thing I would do. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, I just don't. All right, next one. The Kill Bill movies.
Whoa.
The Kill Bill movies.
Whoa.
Look, Tarantino's he's a great director, but it felt like whoever wrote that was a 10-year-old kid who was pissed off at his toys. That's what it felt like. First of all, don't disrespect samurai movies with this garbage you're putting out here. Tom Cruise, I'm sorry.
What?
All right, I'm sorry. First of all, the fight scenes were terrible, but unrealistic, and I don't know what happened in any of these movies. Like the plot, no one knows what's happening.
Bill, it's in the title.
Hot.
How long does it take you to kill Bill?
2 movies, I guess.
Hey, wait till
Call
you
Barack and send a drone.
Hey, wait till you find out how Bill really died in real life. That'll show you the way it
How
happened.
did he die in real life?
Let's just say, you know what? I can't say.
No, say you brought it up.
The same
Say
way
it, you brought it up.
The same way that Boy from Workaholics pretended to die when they found him in the closet.
I don't remember that.
Well, okay.
All right, the next one. This one was easy. The Expendables. Has anybody seen these movies?
No.
It's like the guy Rocky fought, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, I know of the movie.
Yeah, so it's basically a 2.5 hour people in a speech class that I can't understand what anybody's saying the entire movie. You made 4 movies of a word I can't understand that you've said the entire time. At some point, literally, it's just moans and groans and people who can't say R's. That's what it is. And I can't take it. I can't take it. The next one's, what's the Mad Max movies? Mad Max Fury Road.
All of them?
All of them. All of them.
Mm.
They're terrible. I hate them. How do you have a main character be a side character of the entire movie and just does the same thing? The entire movie, he's just strapped to a car and they're driving.
It's dope.
That's it. The entire movie. Can we get some little bit? Can I get more to the plot, please? And it's like the Kill Bill movies. I don't understand what's going on. I do not understand what's going on. It's mid.
So that's all right. I agree with half that. About half of that.
Okay, hold on. Stephen Moore, is that it? You're done?
Yeah.
That was great. That was funny.
You read them all,
Stephen Moore asked, a question that we have to get to.
What, Stephen?
He says, Blaine called Quentin Tarantino a great director, but he rated Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill mid. Name a great Quentin Tarantino movie.
I would say... Did he make Django?
Yeah.
Django. Did he make The Hateful Eight?
Yes.
I would say those are two.
You like those two?
You like The Hateful Eight?
Reservoir Dogs?
Pulp Fiction.
Good.
Huh?
I should slice your head off with this thing.
It was good.
Like from Running Man. Like with speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, remember the hockey guy? He's like slicing Oboy's head off. All right.
So those are your two favorite
It's
Quentin
Friday.
Tarantino movies.
Booster Club Bets.
I mean,
brought to you.
I would say Django. Probably my favorite Quentin.
Booster Club Bets brought to you by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code BOOSTER because new customers can place $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. That's right. Congrats. We're rich. Bless up. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, I'm going to read these bets. Rutgers, what in the hell, man? Y'all are up 10 against Minnesota, who's basically blind and deaf out there playing in basketball this year, and you lose? Now you don't go to the tournament. And this is why you can't have nice things, New Jersey, because of people like Rutgers. All right? Because Arizona handled business. Illinois handled business. As an Auburn fan, thanks on that. I want Michigan not to make that tournament. Here's what I got tonight. Going a little parlay. Give me Utah Valley. Wherever that is. Probably in a valley in Utah. Give me Sam Houston, San Francisco, and Ohio. All together money line at plus 180. And then Southeast Missouri State versus Morehead State. The Battle of States, over 142, that is minus 110. It's conference tournament time, fellas, in college basketball. I love it. We got the A-Sun going on, the Sun Belt. It's a great time right now. It's a great time to be alive.
You don't know where the Utah Valley is?
Yeah, it's right.
It's one of the largest cities in Kansas, you moron.
Well, you liked that one, didn't you? That one got you.
I'll take the Kraken money line, minus 165, and then the Oilers and the Hurricanes money line at plus 110. Boys, let's get our hockey on tonight. Might bust open a little small batch bourbon. Get some hockey on.
All right, give me the T-Wolves money line in the over at 228.5. That's plus 231. And give me the Bulls plus 7.5 at home versus the Suns.
Baby Cone, he's taking the New Jersey Devils. Get up off me. Money line at minus 110. Then the Canadians. Yeah, those guys. Plus 105. We'll see. Hockey bets. Blaine, you ready for those Nerfies to come back?
I am, man.
I bet you are. God, you were just absolutely on fire last year on the Nerfies. I mean, you could technically... No, it's over now. Don't add insult to insult.
I'm on 4 piles if you want to.
Blame.
How about that? What's in the Booster Club before we get out of here?
I like the graphic, so I have to show it.
Okay. Well, there's a fire.
Oh, David saw the poll.
What do you mean? No, I didn't see it.
No, he didn't look.
I didn't see the percentage.
You always assume the worst.
What do you mean with me
what
being
is
on
it?
the
Read
chat?
the poll. I want to hear it.
I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
I bet you didn't. Better fried chicken.
Ooh.
Cane's. Chick-fil-A.
You say Cane's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or other.
No, well, now you know I didn't see the poll
Cane's,
because I would have
Chick-fil-A,
called you out
other?
for not having Zaxby's on there.
Well, it's other.
Well, this
grandmother's.
is a Booster Club poll. That's what I wanted.
It's my grandmother's, but I know what they said. Chick-fil-A 64%.
No, they'll say other. There's 3 of them. Other 45%.
All right, Cane's 16%.
Okay.
Other 27%.
Huh?
Chick-fil-A 58%.
I'm not mad about it. I like it. I'm not mad about it.
Chick-fil-A.
I do. I love Chick-fil-A.
You got to pick
I'm
Chick-fil-A.
not mad about it. I just thought that
Zaxby's
there's
is
so
kinda going
many
downhill
others
a little bit, I'm being
that it would over.
Zaxby's been overpriced since I ever.
They are. Look, there's nothing like a good chicken sandwich.
Like here's a chicken sandwich. That'd be $10,000
For Zaxby's?
Sandwich.
Yes.
It's fun.
Look, I'm not mad about it. Chick-fil-A, I love it. Love to see the votes.
That's why I felt bad for
You
old
had the
boy.
cauliflower sandwich yet?
Have I had the cauliflower sandwich?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's the
Okay.
food my food eats.
Yeah. Well,
That's the food my food eats, guys.
All right, Deacon and Nora, yes, you want to get this question asked the entire show. What is the best move for the Ravens in the draft?
Well, if you're keeping Lamar, get him some help out wide. I mean, go. Like I said, I think they're going to trade with the Falcons. Get him up. But if you're keeping Lamar,
I'm pretty sure they're
get some help outside.
22nd pick
if you're
in the first
getting rid of
round.
Lamar, go get your guy at quarterback. All right. Or, I mean, Derek Carr. I just don't get excited about Derek Carr.
22nd pick in the first round. You have to take the best receiver available at that point.
Yep. Is it Jordan Addison?
I mean, Jackson Jigbo, where is he going to be? Is old boy from TCU still out there?
So. Maybe the first
Quentin Johnston? Yeah.
So it will be interesting, fellas. That is for sure. John Kosmowski, what's up, John? Does Blaine just not like pointless action movies sometimes? Sometimes when I hang around with the guys, I just like watching a dumb movie. I just don't like watching dumb movies.
Ninja Star.
Ninja Star. Diamond Dave. No, you missed again.
No, I went in.
Diamond Dave. Also, boys, first F1 race of the season this Sunday in Bahrain.
Man, you guys tell me how that
Max Verstappen.
All right. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on all social medias. Got a great Saturday special coming for you tomorrow. Again, thanks to Danny Kanell and everybody that called in. Anthony, Peter, John, everybody, make sure you call in on Monday. We'll put your calls to the front. And like the chances of Zach Stacy being a good person, we're gone.